Hey, Richard here. Just a little plug for my blog, Facts for Working People. URL is weknowwhatsup.blogspot.com. Damn, I just got so frustrated in Safeway, I had to speak out in there. I went in to get something just simple, a loaf of bread or a couple of loaves of bread. They got one checker open. And of course, there's a line at that checker, as there often is, a mile long. And of course, there's half a dozen people in the self-check. That there annoys me. So as I walk past the line where I'm going to have to get in, if I bothered to purchase these things, there was a Safeway worker there, and I said, have them open. They should open up another. And I'm speaking to the customers. Open up another checker. Why should we stand in line like this all the time down here? And so the woman, I wasn't angry at the woman, and she could see I wasn't angry at her, but she said, it's interesting what she said, because it's how they've got us trained how to think from their point of view. She said, we assume, mean the bosses, assume that you'll use the self-check. That's a complete reversal of what actually happens. They direct us into the self-check. I don't use it. They direct you into the self-check by only having one open. People haven't got time to stay there all day, so they go into the self-check. And I explained that I always do. I said it to the workers there. Where's your class consciousness? You have children, you have kids. There'd be no job here if we all self-checked. And secondly, I don't work here. If I injure myself in the check area or something, or hurt my wrist or whatever, do I get workers' comp? No, I don't. But the main thing is, have some bloody class solidarity and force them to bring people out. And where they would do that could be done. It has to be organized. Sometimes these things develop organically, and it just happens. The anger comes out, but it could be organized, couldn't it? The trade union leaders, they have a union. These people, the trade union leaders are worthless in that regard. They're worthless not because they're crooks. I was active for many years. It's not. There's corruption in the trade union movement, particularly among the leadership, just like there is in society. But overwhelmingly, it's not that. They're ideologically bankrupt. They have the same worldview as the employer. Capital has the rights. Profits are sacrosanct. If the boss says I can't make it, I've got to cut wages, they'll try and find some way when capitalism goes into crisis to bail it out, and that's either increasing the work pace of the worker or wage cuts or some other layoffs or something else. And they'll try to get the best deal. Now, yesterday on my TikTok, and it was a friend of mine on TikTok, and she was very good. She's a blonde woman, I forget the name, and she was talking about the power of the unions, and she gave a little history about the unions, and that was good. She did that, and I'm not going to put her down for that. I'm going to be respectful. I don't know if she's in a union, but any of those of us that have been in unions, and I was functioning one as an activist for three decades or more, is that she talked about the most powerful trade union leader, and the one she raised. I hate when they use that term, but it was Sarah Nelson of the Flight Attendants Union, and she's saying that she's the most powerful, obviously because she's heard her talk about a general strike and the rhetoric she uses. Sarah Nelson may be a very decent person. I have no objection to her other than the fact that she doesn't use that power. It's all rhetoric. Walter Johnson used to go around talking about a general strike back in the 80s, never used his power to do anything about it. The head of the State Federation of Labor here in California was a brilliant speaker, rousing speaker. Every time I had a Labor Party resolution from my local at the State Federation biannual conference, he would talk about how they attack the capital, the Democrats and the Republicans and everything else, and then vote the Labor Party down. They're very clever that way. And Sarah Nelson, she's gone around and done all this talk. The problem, and to this woman, if she's not in a union, she may, the correct approach or the correct definition is she has the potential power. but she doesn't use it, going around calling for saying we need a general strike and doing nothing about it. She's on the AFL-CIO executive board. There should be a war going on within that executive board. The AFL is the national federation that most trade unions belong to. It's voluntary. There needs to be a war inside of there if you are a trade union leader claiming to want to change things. Back in 2005, there was a split, and so a lot of the liberals and some of the left, these left groups, a lot of the so-called revolutionary left, they fall head over heels if there's a slight left movement from a Labour official, and there was a split back then where a number of unions went out and formed the Change to Win coalition. SEIU, I think the Teamsters, the Labourers, a few of them walked out. But what that was over was not about opposing the team concept, changing the concessionary view, changing business unionism, and building a fighting organisation on the ground, and out of that a political alternative. No, it was about getting more people into the registered to vote to get Democrats into power, which is the Democratic Party is the party of the trade union leadership. But for God's sake, the very least you can do is not use that checkout, that self-check. Just stand in line and talk to your neighbours a little bit when you're in line and make it clear. There'd be no jobs, okay? There'd be no jobs for people. There'll be jails for them. California's got plenty of jails. Yeah, I was a bit worked up this morning. Anyway, I haven't been on TikTok for a while, but that's it. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye.